Parapsychology Today, a program of investigation into the realms of the unknown. Suspend your mind for a moment and journey to a world beyond the five senses. Parapsychology Today is a program exploring ideas, theories, and concepts that have been around since ancient times. We'll journey to outer worlds and inner worlds. We'll look into such phenomena as past lives, UFOs, and hauntings. And we'll explore psychic ability as it relates to human potential. We do not intend to prove or persuade, but rather present theories and personal stories of ventures into the world of parapsychology. Whatever your beliefs, we hope this program will start you thinking about a reality beyond the five senses.
Hi, welcome to our show. I'm your host, Pauline Nortness. I have a very special guest today. Her name is Sarah Marie Livings, and Sarah is she's many things, but today she's gonna talk about soul retrieval, and she's actually an energy healer. Mm-hmm. Now, when I do my shows, I'm really fascinated by, we're mainly energy, aren't we? That's the thing I want to get across. That's why energy healing is so important, because we're not just physical, we're actually energy. So I'm going to ask you a lot of questions, so we'll get back to that. Yeah. Sure. But before we start, Sarah, can you tell us a little bit about your background?
Absolutely, yeah. So I'm one of those people who has been talking and seeing spirits since I was very young. I actually don't have any memories where I didn't know that there was more happening than just the humans. But it wasn't until probably my late teenage years that I recognized that the conversations I was having with other beings was something more unusual than it was normal. And throughout my life, I kind of worked with it. I worked with it to...
Did you tell your parents?
I was raised Christian, so the way that I was raised wasn't very welcoming to the experiences that I was having. And in truth, it was villainized. It was something that was considered wrong or not right. So a large part of me kind of had to go dormant and had to go to sleep for a while until much later in my late 20s and 30s when I kind of had my own spiritual awakening.
Which was?
I realized that there was more happening than just the faith I was raised in. It was really hard for me to comprehend that out of all of the many people in the world and all of the traditions and ways of seeking enlightenment, that we were the only ones that got it right. Mm-hmm. That felt
You're
really
the only
hard.
True religion, right?
Yeah.
everybody else is wrong, and you're right.
Right,
yeah.
That was really hard for me to accept.
I was raised that way too, so I understand that. Yeah.
Yes, and because I had so much experience with spirits and with other dimensions, and it was villainized by the faith I was raised in, but my experience with it was so much different. That was also hard to reconcile as well.
Did you have anybody to talk to about this?
I really didn't. I didn't have anyone to guide me, again, until my late 20s and early 30s, when I began to seek on my own people who were established in this world already, and I sought out teachers.
So you were born with the ability, but you've had training. Tell us a little bit about your background in the training.
So I had a wonderful experience with a woman named Jan Ingle Smith. I moved to Portland from the East Coast when I was 30 years old, and I had had a series of unfortunate events that left me feeling very depleted. I had no energy. I felt sick, but nobody could tell me what was wrong with me. And so I sought out a healer when I landed in Portland, and that healer happened to be a student of Jan Ingle Smith. And when she helped me heal, she said, Sarah, I think you would really benefit from working with this woman. She's studied with healers and shamans all around the world, and I think that this is a path that you could follow if you wanted to. And so I attended the first workshop, which is a basic journey skills class with Jan Ingle Smith as the teacher, and it took off from there for me. And she's the founder of Lightsong, 21st Century Shamanism and Energy Medicine. And she has a whole curriculum that teaches you how to engage the spiritual worlds in a respectful way, in a safe way, and an effective way.
Safe way, that's the important thing. You can't just fool around. You don't want to play with Ouija boards and things like that. You want to be safe.
I think that's one of the things I appreciated about her the most, because for me growing up, I didn't know how to create those kinds of energetic boundaries. And so sometimes the spiritual encounters that I was having didn't always feel good. And I didn't know how to navigate that well. And it wasn't until I started working with Jan that I figured out how to do it in a good way.
What made you, maybe because of your background growing up, you gravitated towards energy work rather than going to a medical doctor, or maybe medical couldn't help you?
I think that sounds accurate. Yeah, I think so much of my experience of this world is more of a felt sense than what I'm seeing with my eyes. I can get so much more information from a person just by feeling their energy rather than hearing what they're saying or looking at them.
Can you feel my energy now?
Absolutely.
Oh, I hope it's a good one.
It is a good one.
So your background training, you trained in shamanism, so you're also a shaman?
I don't know that I would call myself a shaman. I think, you know, I was trained by someone who was gifted that name by her community, and she shared with us almost from the beginning that that's not a title that you claim for yourself, that your community gives that to you. I would say that I'm an energy healer. I practice energy medicine, but that title feels like it's something
The reason
to be
I
given.
the reason I ask you to shaman, because I know shamans do soul retrievals.
I absolutely do soul retrieval work, yes, and that was all under Jan Ingalls Smith as well. I worked with her for 12 years, and soul retrieval was kind of the last piece of our training after we had learned all of the things leading up to that. Soul retrieval is what happened next as far as learning how to work with people at a soul level to bring them healing.
Great, that's our topic, soul retrieval. So can you describe what is soul retrieval?
So soul retrieval happens when there's been soul loss. And so for an energy healer, we can feel into people and we can tell that there's a piece or a part of them that has gone missing. If someone presents with us, that they're coming to see us with an illness, whether or not it's physical, whether it's emotional, whether it's mental, for us there's always something happening at a soul level that needs to be paid attention to. And quite often it's because there's something that has happened in their life that has been so traumatic, challenging, or difficult that a piece of them has had to go away. And sometimes that piece of them leaves out of intolerance for the circumstances. Sometimes those pieces leave because they don't feel valued or cherished. We see this a lot with parenting when there's something about a child that's too much, they're too loud, they have too big opinions. The parents kind of help them conform to something that's a little more palatable, and whatever piece of them that carries that charisma and that light will go away.
Oh. We were talking before we did the show, and so we're talking about soul retrieval, and how would you define soul? That's your spirit, right?
So I think there are many ways to interpret the soul. For me, the soul is the part of ourselves that is eternal. It's the part of us that can choose to dip into time and space and have this human experience, but it returns to that infinite place where it remembers everything that it's done and everything that's left for it to do. So for me, it's the part of us that journeys. It's the part of us that is ever seeking, ever curious, ever evolving.
So when we say we never die, it's because the physical body dies, but the soul goes on forever.
Forever. This is a container for a short time.
So when you have a client come in, how can you tell they've had a soul loss? How would...
So often I can feel it energetically. It feels like there's a void. There feels like there's low energy. There's something about them that feels like it's not fully activated. It's not fully on. And often people will say, I don't feel like myself. I used to be this way, but I'm not this way anymore. Sometimes people will say, this circumstance happened and I was just beside myself. Our language as human beings often points to soul loss, right? Or I was so scared I jumped out of my skin, right?
Yes.
We can be startled into soul loss. Surprises, things that are unexpected can take us into soul loss. And so when people come in and talk about those kinds of circumstances that are really challenging and difficult, more often than not, they're soul loss.
So why is it important to retrieve that part of your soul that's been lost?
Right, that's a really great question. I think a lot of times when people have really traumatic experiences, it becomes part of their identity, and they think of themselves as a broken person or a person that used to have a bright light but no longer carries it, and that's it now. And for me, from my own personal experience in working with people for over a decade in this work, I've seen that soul retrieval can actually, it's like a refabricating. You're reintegrating these pieces and parts of you that have gone missing, because we want to be whole. We want to be operating from a place of our wholeness rather than our fragmentation, right? And when we are in that place of restoration, our whole world's changed. It's really true what they say, so as we are on the inside, so it is on the outside. When we start to shift and heal ourselves internally, then our outside world begins to shift to be a match for that healing rather than our brokenness.
And people probably notice a difference in the person too. They treat
Absolutely.
probably differently and everything. Can you describe a soul retrieval? Like if I came to you, what would I expect?
Yeah. So depending on how you want to feel, I was taught very well by Jan that the spirits work according to our intention. So we spend some time talking about what's not working, and then we start to talk about, oh, how would you rather experience life? What would you like to be different? And then we ask the spirits to take us to the places in your energy and in your timeline that are keeping you from having the things that you want.
How do you connect to the spirits that help you?
So this was the beautiful part of working with Jan and my experience with her. Because I was kind of a shifty person already, I could see the spirits and it was just happening. It was my normal. Being able to have choice around that was really key. And so how she taught us to connect with the spirits is connected to something called core shamanism. Those are the techniques that are common almost universally amongst all of the indigenous peoples of our world. And they are techniques that often use sound like a drum or a rattle to take you into an altered state so that you can connect with the spirits and work with them in such a way that you can relay what you're seeing and what you're experiencing in that realm to the person who's still here in ordinary reality. And you know, people are waking up. I think everybody has this skill.
They call this the Great Awakening.
Yes, and quite often when I'm
do.
in this work, my clients are seeing what I'm seeing, or they're having a journey experience alongside of the journey experience that I'm seeing as well. So I often let people know if you're seeing colors, if you're seeing memories, if you're seeing pictures that don't quite make sense, but they're like a video playing in your head, like you're doing it. That's you're in the healing along with me.
I think it's exciting that we're waking up and realizing we have these powers we didn't know we had.
Yes.
Like they say, our pineal gland. Is that the main gland? And
psychically speaking, I would say that's one of the major players. Absolutely. I think we're beginning to recognize that our whole bodies are actually receivers and broadcasters of energy. So yes, psychically we receive and transmit information here as well. And I think part of the evolution is recognizing that there's so much more about our physicality that can be tuned in and turned on to communicate and receive information
I
with
can
so
kind
much
of
more
relate
depth.
to you. As a child, I didn't see spirits, but later on as an adult, I studied Reiki energy.
Yes.
And sometimes I can actually see energy moving.
Isn't that fantastic?
Yeah, it is, but I haven't seen any spirits yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. No, maybe.
And sometimes we don't want to, right? Sometimes
yeah.
it's a choice. It's a choice not to see those things because we've been taught to be afraid of it, or we don't know what to do with that information.
Do you have anything like I had an Irish grandmother who was psychic and a Welsh aunt who could see dead people. Does that kind of come through your heritage?
I absolutely believe.
Maybe that's why I'm so fascinated by this
Yes.
metaphysical stuff, because of my grandmother. I don't know.
It's in your blood.
It's in my blood. It's in my blood. So once the soul retrieval is complete, is there anything else you have to do to keep your soul? Or can you lose your soul again?
That's a fantastic question. There's often what I call maintenance work. So the piece of your soul that we've restored back to you left for a reason. And oftentimes it's really important to make sure that your life is shifting in a way that fosters that piece of you remaining
Could you give
and
me an
actually
example?
integrating. Sure. So sometimes a piece of us can be gone for so long that it feels unfamiliar. It can feel like it's strange to you. And so actively engaging with that piece of you and welcoming it
Oh,
in.
it'd be strange when it comes back, you mean?
Yeah, when
Okay,
it comes
all
back,
right,
because
yeah.
it's not been with you for so long. It might have gone since childhood, right? And so welcoming in and including this part of you in the conversations that you're having and the decisions that you're making. And I give all sorts of exercises that help people engage those pieces and parts. Another example is sometimes pieces of us will leave because of abusive situations. Sometimes they leave because of addiction. And so making sure that the circumstances that cause them to leave are no longer happening.
So it
is
can happen
also
any time
key.
in your life. It can happen when you're really little.
Absolutely.
It can happen when you're older, when maybe a person you have a relationship with has taken part of your soul away from you?
There's that piece as well. So challenging circumstances, difficult things can cause a piece to choose to leave. But then there are also circumstances where you're in a love or a romantic relationship, or even parent-child relationship, where you do give a piece of yourself to the other person. We say, like, you have a piece of my heart.
Oh, right.
Or
Yeah.
I'm giving you my heart, right? Again,
Do you
our
wanna not
language
say that?
speaks to.
Do you want to not say that then?
I personally try to stay away from that kind of language because I want all of me with me.
Because when you think about it, if you're in a love relationship, you go, I give you my heart. It sounds like something good, but it doesn't.
But it's right.
Yeah.
But it's actually giving someone your life force and your essence.
You don't want to give your life force. Yeah, life force is your spirit, your soul,
It's who you are, and it's what you're using to create your life.
Can anyone perform a soul retrieval? You have to have special training, don't you?
In my opinion, I would say yes. I think that there are people being born today that are coming in with skills that are highly advanced already. That being said, I think it's really important to have a mentor and a teacher to help you navigate those realms, so that so often the realms that we're working with are not always the enlightened realms. So the spirits are on the same spectrum we are, the same spectrum of ego. So so everybody has an agenda. So working with a guide that knows how to navigate the spiritual realms is really important.
You touched on another topic, though. You said children are coming in now. I read a book a while back on indigo and crystal children.
Right.
Do you know anything about that?
I'm familiar.
I'm kind of changing topics, but
sure,
it's
I'm familiar with it.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with it. I don't know that I haven't done extensive reading into it. But what I like about it is the idea that souls are being born already evolved, or evolved beyond what the older generations have. And so there's less work for them to do.
Oh, because we need them now, don't we? We need them to elevate us now.
We do. We need them to elevate us. And also, I think it speaks to how much we've done in the generations before, preparing this earth so that they can be born.
And they can up such good ideas and information.
So it's not just that they're making us better. We are the way showers. We've laid the groundwork for them to continue building upon. Yes.
I think that's great. I like this because it's very positive. Now, without using any names, can you describe any of your, without using their names, any client that came in and what the problem was and how you helped them?
So what comes to mind with that question first, I was working with this woman who was having a really hard time with decision making. She was really skilled in a profession. She did really well when she was executing her skills, but she couldn't make her work happen. She was not getting, I'll say, she wasn't getting a job, or like her career wasn't coming together. And what we found out when we went in and investigated what was happening with her soul is that when she was very young, her father saw something in her that scared him. And it was because she was very charismatic, she was very energetic, she was lively, she liked to talk and engage people, and that scared him.
How old was she? Was she too young for her to do that?
She was like 3 or 4 when this happened.
Why would that scare her father? But maybe because she was so little.
Well, for him, her father was someone who really valued control, who really valued modesty, who really valued being reserved. So their values were different. Their values were completely different, and for him, it was a safety concern. In his mind, he was doing something right by asking her to be different, by asking her to be calm, to be quiet, to be more respectful of circumstances, those kinds of things.
He thought he was helping her.
He thought he was helping her. And that's a really key part of all of this, is sometimes we get really upset about our pieces and parts leaving us, thinking that someone kicked them out, or there was something malicious about it. And so often it happens because we think we're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And sometimes that can be part of the healing. Like in this circumstance, her father was really looking out for her. And he literally, energetically, the way I saw it, took a piece of her and he hung on to it. And so during the soul retrieval, during the soul retrieval, what we did was we went to him during that time and we used guides to help us.
Physically or no?
So in the journey state. So part of the soul retrieval is going into that altered state, going into the journey place, and working with spirits to find where the pieces and parts are. And where her soul piece was still with her father, kind of suspended in that moment in time, kind of stuck there. And so we were able to speak with him and let him know, like, look how she is as a grown-up, look how well she's doing, look at how favored she is because she has these skills. Can you give us her piece of her back? And of course he was so willing to do so. And once that part of her was restored, her career took off and she was very successful and she was able to make the kinds of decisions that helped
great?
her. Yeah, and it was almost immediate. So often it's immediate.
You know, you were saying it was her father. Now, what if somebody comes to you, they don't know who took their soul? I mean, do you need to know where their soul went to?
We
and
didn't
find
know
back?
it was her father.
Oh.
That part was a surprise.
Oh.
We just asked the spirits to take us where we need to
Spirits
go.
help. Okay,
and
the
they
spirits
took
help
us.
you, right.
Yeah,
I was thinking,
and they
how
took us to her dad. And I think what's important to say here also is that sometimes it's not always in this lifetime. Sometimes
Oh my
we go
gosh.
to another lifetime where you experience that soul
Really?
loss, and you can be born with soul loss. You can be born already not having
I didn't
all your
know
pieces
that.
and parts. Yes. And so sometimes the work that we do is from another lifetime, and we bring a piece that should have been incarnated with you here and now.
Now, how do you do that? I mean, do you do a soul, I mean, not soul retrieval, do you do a past life regression therapy, or how do you do this?
So this is also part of the journey state where we ask the spirits to show us where we're
Oh,
going, and
okay.
the spirits will take us
I keep
to,
forgetting about that.
Yeah, they'll take us
Spirits
to
help us.
the spirits help us. Yes,
Uh-huh.
and that to me is also another valuable piece of the training that I had is that there are spirits that have been doing this work for centuries.
And who are
for
these spirits?
millennia.
Are they people that have, you know, masters in other lifetimes?
Sometimes,
Or
yeah.
angels, or
Absolutely,
they could be,
sometimes.
spirits could be anything. They've been physical or they've not.
Some have been physical, some have not.
Oh.
Some have been doing this work for hundreds of thousands of years. This is what they've chosen to do. This is what they'll be doing for a really long time. Sometimes you get spirits who are in training, just like you are, and so there's like the mentor
Right.
and the student, and you'll see two
I'm in
spirits
training, all
working.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's
it's not too
interesting.
unlike our ordinary reality. But the visuals of what they look like is often much different than our human form.
That's a great story. I love to hear that somebody with this talent and ability got help.
She
and
did.
Does she keep in touch with you?
She does. She just
What's-
actually texted me the other day and was like, I remembered that healing and I'm so appreciative.
Does
Thank
she
you.
ever have to come back?
I have not worked with her since then.
But she's good.
She's good now.
She's good. She's got her soul back. That is just great. Are there any other people that stand out to your mind? This is a big one.
Yeah. So I think this is a more general, this isn't a specific story. This
Okay.
is like an accumulation of stories.
Yeah, that'd be good.
So a lot of times when there's a really significant breakup between two people who are romantically involved, a lot of times there will be such devastation over the loss of the relationship that a piece of them will actually stay connected to the other person.
Well, that would probably hurt the other person too, right?
We don't often think about that, but it's true. When you have
Yeah.
someone else's energy with you,
Yeah.
sometimes it can act like it can work against you. It's not your energy, and
Yeah.
so if you have it with you, sometimes we think we can use other people's energy to our benefit, but it's not a match for you energetically.
That's another story, isn't it?
It's a whole other conversation.
Yeah, I never thought of that.
But I feel like this is a really common place where we can lose a piece of ourselves is in relationships that de-evolved over time, that were really wonderful and flourishing at the beginning, but then there are a lot of fights, there's feelings of betrayal, there's all of the things that can kind of participate or influence a breakup. Those things can make a piece of you want to leave, or there can be one person who wants to leave and the other person doesn't. And so energetically, they'll kind of glob on to the person trying to leave.
Ooh.
And so, I've worked with both ends of that circumstance where the person has left and they're devastated and they need the piece of them back so they don't feel like a piece of their heart is gone.
Do you need both of the people to work with, or just one of them? You can just
No,
work with one.
and this is a good question because so often people are like, I need you to fix my husband or I need you to fix my kids, and it's like, I
Oh, the
can't
kids,
do that.
Yeah.
I can't do that without their permission. But what I
Oh.
can do is operate from your free will. So if you've given a piece of you to someone else in a relationship and you
Yeah,
want it
that's
back,
yours.
it's yours and you have every right to take it back, even if that person was operating from a malicious place and stole a piece of your
Yeah.
soul. That's a whole other conversation
Oh,
also. But
geez.
sometimes that does happen. But because we have free will, because we have sovereignty, we can go in the energy behind the scenes and
get it back.
take it back.
That's great. We only have a few minutes left, so
Sure.
I want to, you've been a wonderful interview. I want to promote you a little bit, and because you have a business here
I
in
do.
McMinnville.
Yes.
Gothic,
It's apothic energy.
apothic energy, not
Yes.
Gothic. Don't ask me where that came from.
I feel like the worlds are kind of
Gothic, yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us a little about apothic
apothic
energy.
energy. Yeah. So apothic energy healing, I started 12 years ago when I began my training and my journey as a healer. And she moved with me from Portland here to McMinnville, and we've been
Who's
established
that?
here. I think of my business as an entity.
Okay.
So I moved her with me when I moved to McMinnville.
She was in back east. I didn't know that.
Yeah, actually in Portland. I
Oh,
had her in
Portland, not back east, because
Yeah.
you didn't heal until you got to the West Coast.
Right, yeah.
I
So
was paying
we were
attention.
established in Portland first, but then we moved here in 2020. And we had such a warm welcome. People were really excited to have this kind of work here, and I didn't know what to expect, but I just knew that I had to keep doing it, even
This is a
though
great
I had
town.
moved from home. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That was so welcoming. There were people who were really grateful that this kind of work was accessible here and that they didn't have to drive to Portland, that it was right
Seems
next door.
Several places have established here in McMinnville that are kind of into
I
metaphysics
have
and energy healing.
so many, and it's so
Yeah.
exciting. I've seen a lot of psychic readers and psychic mediums, and that's part of the work that I do as well. I do small group psychic readings once or twice a month that people can participate in.
Oh,
I also
really?
do one-on-one work. I do the soul retrieval work. One of the more effective and I think exciting things that I do is something called thought form unraveling, where we go into your energy system and find the thoughts that you were born into or that were given to you or that you were
Wow.
trained in.
It's amazing we get through this life with all this stuff.
Right, and we can unravel you from those thoughts so they're no longer your programming.
So what does apothic mean? I was wondering when I saw apothic.
So if you look up apothic, it says something about like stunning beauty. But for me, when I was sitting with how I wanted my healing to be expressed, I actually did a journey and asked my business, because I felt her coming in. I said, what do you want your name to be?
Oh,
and that's
really?
what she picked.
Apothic.
And
Well,
so
it's
for
kind of
her,
interesting.
I think it's connected to like apothecary. There's a healing.
Apothecary, that's
There's
right.
a healing quality to the energy that I'm working
being
with.
pharmaceutical. Apothic.
Exactly.
You know, I want people to know that we are going to, I'm sure they want to get in touch with you.
Yes.
So at the end of the show, we will put in the credits, we'll put your email and your website
Wonderful.
so people can get a hold of you.
Yes.
Yeah, is there anything that I didn't cover that you'd like to before? We have about 3 minutes
Well,
left.
we had talked about maybe connecting soul retrieval to spirit attachments.
Oh, right. We were
Yes.
going to talk, folks, we were originally going to talk about spiritual attachments, but we decided to talk about soul retrieval, but spiritual
Yeah,
Go
so
ahead.
soul loss.
Your turn.
Yeah, so soul loss sometimes can welcome in other consciousness or other entities that don't belong to you because there's something missing in you. There's a space that opens up. And so often another spirit or another energy can attach or fill in that space. And because that space is considered a wound, it's a lower frequency vibration. So things like depression, things like anxiety, illness, and sometimes a whole other person can kind of attach itself to you and be operating from your system. And a lot of the work that I do is helping those energies find wherever home is for them because they don't belong with you, but they've gotten lost along the way and they need to find where they belong. And so I have a wonderful group of spirits that help me move discarnate spirits from this realm to wherever home is.
Yeah, we were going to talk about spiritual attachments, but we decided to talk about soul retrieval
first,
and then I asked you if there was a connection, and you said there was, because when your soul is, you've lost something, it opens
Something
up a
else,
whole,
yeah, the universe likes balance and it doesn't like void. So if something
Yeah.
opens up, something different will take its place.
Okay, did we cover almost everything?
I think so.
Oh, good. Well, Sarah, this has been great, and we'll have you back.
Okay.
Of course, we'll do spirit attachments. Any other topics that we might be able to think about for the future?
Let's see. I
Don't
feel
mean to
like
put you on the spot.
that's okay. I feel like there's the energy centers in our body. In India, they call them chakras.
Oh, yes.
I love talking about how they actually carry our belief systems.
Yes.
And they're pieces and parts of us. They're part of our makeup that we can actually program to carry the beliefs that make sense for us, not the ones that were given to us.
Okay, so we've got energy attachments, chakras. Oh, we got plenty to talk about. I want the viewing audience to know that if you have any topics you'd like us to cover, we'd be happy to. Remember, this is metaphysical, so we're talking about energy healing. We're woo-woo, yes, but anything in that genre, we're happy to cover it. And we love your suggestions, and eventually we will be able to have an audience too, because I want to do
so
tarot
fun.
reading and a whole bunch of stuff. I want to do auric filming, and so we're going to have a whole bunch of fun stuff to do.
That sounds
And if
like
you have
a
any
great
ideas,
time.
I always like my guests to give me ideas too. So thanks for watching Parapsychology today, and we'll be with you again with a great topic, another great topic. So keep watching. Thank you. Okay.